Welcome back. So we're continuing our look at the CMS router table. Today we'll look at some of the extension accessories, the side extension and the sliding table. But first, here's a jingle. If you watched the last video, I was looking at making a bit of a raised panel by using freehand routing on this table, and that worked really well. But if you notice, when I came to certain areas, I had more of the panel overhanging the edge of the table than being on the table itself. So I want some support here for the panels. This area is not really that big. Festool have a solution for that, and it's called the VB CMS CS50 side extension. Festool terminology, you'll see extensions called VB or VL. Now can't remember the German words, but the VL models extend the table out in this direction. The length of the table is extended. The VB model extends the width of the table. Now don't forget that we're working with a compact modular system, with modular being the operative word. So if this had a table saw in place and I had the rip fence, you see that the distance between a rip fence on this table and where the saw blade would be is only about that much. It's not an awful lot. Putting these extension tables on that increases that rip cut considerably. So these are really great things to have, and as I develop the kit I'll probably also get the length extensions, or at least one length extension for the outfeed table, and use this as well. Other thing to note is these are true Festool products, so they will also attach to an MFT table, and they're 900 millimeters high. So although I'm not going to be using it all the time on the router table, it will probably live attached to my MFT to give me a bit more working area on the MFT table. Other thing to note, you may look at this and say, hey, hold on a minute, isn't that another module plate? And you'd be right. And if we were to just take this module plate out, you can see that it's another module system. When it first arrived, I was really pleased and surprised by that, because I thought, well, hold on a minute, I will just drop the saw module into this one and I'll have a saw set up on my MFT at all times, or the router table at the end, and I got really quite giddy until I tried to put this module into this table, and they're a different size. This module is about 10 millimeters longer than this module. Width-wise, it's also a little bit wider. So don't get giddy and excited. This module does not fit into this table. It comes with a blanking plate on that table. There's a version of this, very similar construction, with the power accessories, that does take these modules. So if that's something you're thinking about, then that might be a good way for you to go. Obviously, you're paying a lot of money for the privilege. However, we bought this to give us an extension on the width of our table. The rest was just a giddy moment of happiness that was soon dashed on the shores of dreams. No idea what I'm talking about. So this now obviously connects onto this rail. See these clips here, and you see these black clips here. Now these black clips adjust up and down, and the kit comes with an Allen key, another hexagonal wrench, a 4mm Allen key, and all that's doing is adjusting the height of this table against the height of the CMS. So I'm going to knock those all the way up, so in theory the edge of the table will be low. Be careful, you can unscrew those all the way, which is a bit inconvenient, and I'll do the same on this one. These clamps here are then on the standard 5mm Festool Allen wrench, and that just then makes a clamp onto the underside of the V profile, and that's what clamps it into position. The 5mm key is not provided, the 4mm key is provided. The 5mm key is the same one that came with your router, with your Kepex. In fact, pretty much every Festool tool comes with one of these, so you end up with a good collection of these knocking about. Came with the MFT table as well. But if you've not got one, you'll need to get one. But then again, if you've not got the TS55 or one of the OF routers or the sander or the circular saw, you're probably not worried anyway. It also has adjustments on the legs. So these are the standard Festool products. You know, they just wind in and out on these modules inside here. There's a cam inside there that just alters the length of these. Make sure that's pushed in place, and that gives you quite a lot of coarse adjustment. And then lock that leg into place. Then slot it into your table. Line the sides up. And then use the 5mm key, and you can just snug, but I wouldn't tighten at this point, that up. Okay. Then get some sort of straight edge and just see where you're up to. So I know that this end here is low because it's not flush with that piece over there. This edge here is pretty good. Yeah. So I'm going to come in with the 4mm and I'm going to wind this down to raise up the height of this piece. Just slacking those off a little bit. Wind that down. That's good. And then lock it into position with the 5mm wrench. So now when I come to repeat my routing exercise, you can now see I've got a lot of support on this panel. So I can now do pretty big panels by using that extension. So I should now be able to go back in with this panel and clean up that cut. And just to prove the point, we'll raise this bit up ever so slightly. There you go. Still going to be able to rest onto that bearing at some level. That's good. Readjust my stop. So it's once again, it's running against that bearing. Tighten that into position. Set my dust guard. And now this should make it a lot easier to put that type of profile on. Let's give it a go. Wow. That's made a world of difference as that extension. That's really, really smooth now, and that's because I could keep very easily equal pressure down as I was making the cuts. And that's quite good, isn't it? It's quite a nice profile, actually. You could probably use that for something special, who knows what. So that's the extension table. Again, before you get giddy and excited, this table will not fit onto this side. Now I did, again, when I saw that, I think actually that's really cool, because when I'm not using it for that type of work on big panels, I can swing it round here and use it as an outfeed table. Alas, you can't do that. These screw positions here are fixed, and the distance between centres is just too wide to attach to the side bracket. Cynical people will say that's so you've got to buy another table, but I'm not cynical, and we probably will go ahead and buy an extension table at some point. But yeah, it works really well. Double whammy, because it's going to be giving me an extension point to the MFT table. Good job. We'll take this off, and I now want to show you the sliding table. See you in a minute.